Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching. My name is Nicolás Keller Sarmiento. I'm the writer and director and producer and star of El Danzo.
I wanted to start with you as the writer because
Mm,
there's a line in here, a thought that I wish I had thought of this, and that
okay.
is that a drag queen is the opposite of a stripper. Where
Yes,
did that thought come from, and how did it make it into the script? Because I just was blown away by that.
I know. I think we see like drag queens so much as like creatures of the night in a way, and to put this one in the middle of the day and kind of like just subvert what people would expect. I think there's a beautiful contrast between, yeah, people put like I think RuPaul says like we're born and all the rest is drag, right? That like there's something about put on a face every day, and there's something different between putting on clothes for money versus taking them off. So I think so many people, yeah, from the outside, people tend to assume like that. Oh, these are creatures of the night. They're out of the normal. But then at the same time, like who gets to decide what's normal and what isn't? You know? Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And certainly within Ernesto's situation, Ruby is exactly what he needs to see and what he needs to encounter.
Hmm.
Um, let me come back for that to a second because there was another line I wanted to ask you about, and that's his mom's advice,
I see.
which is that you should just move forward and embrace uncertainty.
Uncertainty. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of anyone for whom that wouldn't be good advice.
Amen. Yeah. So this project is a bit of a passion project right after being broken up with, and I'd never been broken up with. I was always the one who would break up.
Oh, I'm
Um,
so sorry.
and no, it's okay. I'm much better now. But it was. I think it was a lot of like kind of me needing to hear that for myself. Um, and embracing uncertainty is kind of a life motto that I've always lived with. But I think at that point in time, um, it just struck an extra nerve, and kind of I think it just fits very rather beautifully of these unlikely characters saying it to each other on a rural street in the middle of nowhere, Argentina.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I told myself that I wouldn't ask this question, so I won't, but I'll dance around it.
Unintended.
Tell me about the ramifications of if Ruby is just part of Ernesto's imagination.
Hmm.
What are the ramifications for your story as opposed to what if Ruby is real? I mean, he does end up with the earring. He's holding the
Yeah.
physical earring at the end,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe Ruby just ducked behind something when the camera turns back.
Well, she had to
So,
run real quick. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
but so tell me about those two ways of looking at your film.
Yeah. I think, I mean, there's a fairy tale side to it.
Mm.
I think in being from Argentina, being a big fan of Borges, magical realism is something that we're fluent in. Um, and like, is she real? Is she not? Does it matter? You know, it really shouldn't. And it's like, and he lived it, and that's enough for Ernesto's experience. Um, but yeah, I think, and that kind of the thought was there, but we didn't really know how we were gonna piece it together until the editing. And then my editor just one day I came in and kind of she was like, I played around and did this. Let me know what you think. Um, and I
And
loved it. And then we kind of tinkered it a little bit to make it a suggestion, but not at the same time a must. But yeah, it's very much in the eye of the beholder. Yeah.
well, I loved that about it. And that's why I did not and will not ask you if Ruby is real
Yeah.
because I loved walking away from the movie with that ambiguity
Mm,
because it means different things depending on your take.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. And yeah, and I think it's kind of like being comfortable in the grays, and then not everything is going to be black and white. Um, and
uncertainty.
yeah, amen. There you go. Yeah.
Um, in terms of Ernesto's situation, it is
Mm,
just beautifully shot in terms of there's rust and there's
mm.
you know I want to say like moss or mildew on the buildings,
See, yeah.
and Ernesto is really in a place that it seems like a creative kid like that would want to get out of, would
Mm,
need to get out of.
yeah.
So tell me about creating those images and that set for the movie.
No, that's a very smart way to put it, and that was the intention. Kind of in my mind, I mean, not even the visuals that we got, but just the town, the area, the country. It's very patriarchal, dogmatic, place where tradition rules supreme, and where like do anything you want, but just don't stray away from the norm.
Mm,
Um, and and really that place was, I wanted something rusty, something rural. We shot around one same location because we got this beautiful, it used to be a big kind of both a mechanic spot and a gas station.
mm,
And one of these kind of decrepit, you can tell that like this used to be big in the 70s or 80s and is now just run down and kind of like a very male dominated kind of structures of the big wheels and the, I don't know, I think it, that mechanical energy of what is a little kid doing dancing, like that's not where he would belong, quote unquote. um so yeah, I think I mean, I'll give my cinematographer props to like a lot of the just the artistry behind the visuals, that even I was like, let's get the camera here, and she'd like, let's play with grass in front of it, let's bring it low, let's do this. So there's a lot of kind of her eye really taking over. Also, like tip to all filmmakers out there, work with women. They're smarter, they're like just more handy, they're like, yeah, I had a almost entirely either non-binary or female team, and I could not have, I'm like, I this is the way to work henceforth. Like men are great to open jars, but that's kind of it. Yeah.
possibly
Um,
lawn mowing. We don't know.
Possibly, maybe some of them, yeah.
Set though, in contrast to that, decrepit was the adjective you used, and
Mm,
I think that really nails it. But set in contrast to that is there are a lot of yellows and golds.
mm,
Ruby's outfit and the convenience store where mom works and her
yeah,
shirt and the twirly banner
yeah,
things
yeah,
that
yeah,
they
yeah.
dance with. So and then just the lighting as well. The sun's going down towards the end of the day, and so you're
Mm,
getting sort of a golden glow off of the
hour.
grass and this and that.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So I've got to assume that the color palette is deliberate as well.
Yeah, but yeah, with the shimmer of her sequin suit to
Mm,
the red lipstick, it was, we kind of knew that those colors were going to be prevalent, and it was a matter of highlighting them whenever feasible. And this goes back to getting a good team. There's one shot where Ernesto's coming down the bathroom upstairs and running towards but when she goes running off, and
mhm.
we're such, I mean, small crew, like shot in 2 days, we're in a rush, and my director mind is like, come on, we gotta get the shot, we gotta like, let's keep moving. And my art director says like, wait a minute, she runs on like right into the camera. I'm like, what is she doing now? But she grabs this yellow tape and kind of outlines one staircase and the other, and these two beautiful diagonals that play well. And I'm like, this girl, she like, I'm
There it
like, that
is. Yeah.
that was like, it was missing something and I didn't even know it, and she saw it, and that kind of, yeah, there was a deliberate team effort to make gold shine amid the decrepit kind of rust,
Yeah.
and to bring new light and kind of new sparkle into an otherwise kind of like tame and monochromatic scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
uh,
I've got to ask you about the dancing.
I see.
How scripted was that? How, because it looks like you both just had a blast.
Yeah, it was really that, and like I wish I would have, in hindsight, I wish I would have choreographed it a little bit more, but with the editing, we were able to make it work, and it was supposed to feel like just a moment of inspiration. Let it
Yeah.
like, and he had done a little bit of a choreography on his end, but to me, I feel like I had so much on my plate getting ready to that thing. I was like, if I should, maybe probably would have helped to have a little more choreography already built in, but I wanted it to feel very natural, and and
Yeah.
you can be hit or miss with that, I think there can be magic and spontaneity, but you're also maybe sometimes with like two Flintstones desperate to make a spark where there is none. um so it's a mix of both, and I think I in hindsight, my producer said that as well. She's like, we should have done a little more dance, right? And I'm like, yeah, I think we should have. But just to have a little more of a skeleton through which to then kind of like add things to. But it was what it was, and it was energetic, and kind of like we knew the song that we were using, and it was very homemade. My cousin's friend he's an up and coming musician, so I asked him if I could use his song. Um, and yeah, he was incredibly supportive, and that was the one thing that we like listening to the dance, kind of figuring out different moves of like, this is, you're gonna dance here, I'm gonna dance here, we're gonna do a mishmash there. But a lot of them is just the magic of the edit room, and yeah, a good art direction, a few pedals, a little shimmer and shine, and it worked out. Yeah.
Well, I think if you had sort of shifted into like music video moves where everything was
Mm.
crisp and
Mm.
footloose, where suddenly
Yeah, yeah,
everybody
yeah,
just
yeah.
knows how to dance, I think that would have lost some of it. There's just, this is just an expression of joy. These two people are doing this, and I think you would have lost a little something if it was more choreographed. So I
I
think it
I
worked.
I love that. Thank you. I'm gonna keep that in my pocket. I'm gonna I'm
Next
gonna
time
be
they
like, that
ask
was
you
all
about it.
intentional. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but it's, yeah, I think you're kind of true. It would have been a little Backstreet Boys, and like
Yeah.
it wasn't supposed to have that feel. Um See, it was very loose. Like we were losing the light, running,
Mm.
like climbing up to the top to get that shot, because I was like, we need that shot no matter what. And that was the last thing of the day. It was a good one.
Tell me about what's happening lyrically in that song while you're dancing.
And it's very, I mean, estrés, it means like it's three, but it's
Hmm.
also estrés, like stress. So
Ah,
it talks about, I mean, it talks about like having a drink and like letting loose and like getting a, like letting stress go away. There's a little bit about inhibition. I actually had him tweak the lyrics a little bit, because I didn't, there was a few lines in the original version that I'm like, can we, for the film version, can we make it like this? I was like, I don't know where it's gonna, I don't know who speaks what. I don't want, like, this is still has very PG-13 energy, and I want to keep it that way, and I don't want anything kind of crude seeping into the ears of people who do understand. Um so yeah, I tweaked a little bit of the lyrics just to make it a little more just family friendly, but it very much is. It's, yeah. I mean, and it's more, to be very honest, it speaks more to like, I of the musicians I know that I could reach out to get a song from. They're all very folksy and like a little more Joni Mitchell, and I can't dance to Joni Mitchell like that.
no,
So, so
nobody can.
no,
That's
but probably nobody can. I don't think it's made for that. No, no tea, no shade to Joni. But I was like, I need something with more of a beat, and I love this guy. He shouted about, you guys should check him out. Yeah, and this is one of his funner songs. I was like, it just has a nice beat to it, and you can kind of, and we remix it for the ending to give it a little more of an acoustic thing to kind of draw ourselves out of the story. But yeah, I think that's the long answer to the question about the lyrics.
no, that's great. And if
The
you send me the link, I'll
mm,
make that accessible to folks if they want to go
for
learn
sure,
more.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Last question, because we are
Mhm.
running on time here. The detail of that he's listening on a transistor radio.
Mm.
I haven't seen a transistor radio
In a
probably
while.
since I was a kid.
Uh,
Why that decision? It,
I wanted to get this kid away from phones, and I think it's so tricky nowadays when writing stories. You're like, oh wait, why didn't he just call her? Why didn't they? I feel like there's so many moments that are kind of like, why didn't you just Google locate where you were, or things like that. I think it's getting harder and harder. So I needed to like get him away from the city and away from us. Even him asking for his mom for his phone, she's like, nope, you got to entertain yourself today. Like,
mm,
you got this little radio, and this is going to have to do. Um, Funny, it was very hard to find in our, like, we were spreading the word left and right to see if anyone had anything kind of like semblance of a cassette, or anything that would just bring us down out of the intense high-tech orbit that we live these days. And yeah, and just bring it a little more to the roots, to the analog, and kind of make him make him a little Yeah, just a little disconnect from reality to reconnect with oneself, I think is ultimately one of the things about this story. So making it as distant as a FM receiver, if the signal is hitting the right way, that's as far as I could get from iPhones and such.
And it jumps on the theme of sort of powerlessness, right? When you're
Mm.
listening to a transistor radio, you are completely dependent on whatever the DJ is playing and whatever station you can pick up, as
Yeah,
opposed to we get so spoiled with our phones where I'm
I
just,
know.
yep, I'm Spotifying whatever I want to hear in that moment. And
A hundred
that,
percent.
I think that buys into this. He's in a place where maybe it would be healthier for him to be elsewhere eventually.
Yeah, or at least to find the joy in where he is and kind of be able to look in the mirror and be comfortable with with what he has and kind of what he's what yeah, I think there's a magic to that too, but yeah, he'd probably shine brighter with a bigger stage.